Good morning everybody. I am Dr. Nitin Joshi, Professor in Neurology with teaching experience of 25 years. Today we will discuss stimuloglobular feedback mechanism and renal autoregulation. Autoregulation is an intrinsic ability or property of an organ to regulate its own blood supply. This important property of autoregulation is exhibited by vital organs of the body, namely kidney, heart and brain. The property of renal autoregulation or autoregulation in kidney is very well developed in kidney. Renal autoregulation is ability of kidney to regulate its own blood supply, that is renal blood flow, in spite of wide fluctuation in systemic blood pressure. Studies have shown that kidney is able to maintain constant renal blood flow in spite of wide fluctuation in mid-arterial pressure from 60 to 70 mm of Hg to 180 to 200 mm of Hg. That is, autoregulation in kidney will fail if the systemic blood pressure falls below 60 to 70 mm of Hg or rises above 180 to 200 mm of Hg. However, renal blood flow is most important factor which governs glomerular filtration rate. This is because when there is increase in renal blood flow, that is increased blood flow through afferent arteriole, there will be increased blood flow through glomerulus. Thus, there will be increased driving force, hence increased hydrostatic pressure, hence increase in the effective filtration pressure and hence increased glomerular filtration rate. On the other hand, when there is decrease in renal blood flow, in fall in systemic blood pressure, there will be decreased blood flow even through glomerulus, hence decreased hydrostatic pressure, decreased driving force and hence decreased glomerular filtration rate. Thus, what we have seen is that the autoregulation regulates renal blood flow and renal blood flow regulates glomerular filtration rate. But glomerular filtration rate is the ultimate reflection of kidney function. In short, renal autoregulation which governs renal blood flow and renal blood flow which governs glomerular filtration rate and glomerular filtration rate which is the ultimate reflection of renal function. In short, renal autoregulation is ultimately responsible for overall reflection of kidney function. Normally, in spite of drastic increase or decrease in the systemic blood pressure, there is no increase or decrease, drastic increase or decrease in glomerular filtration rate. That is, glomerular filtration rate is maintained constant in the range of 120 to 130 cc per minute. And whenever this particular drastic change happens in the systemic blood pressure, there will be only slight increase or decrease in the urine output to begin with, but overall effect is constant renal blood flow and constant glomerular filtration rate. This is called as renal autoregulation, and it is through the two theories, and that is the myogenic theory and tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism. The tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism is most accepted and it is asked again as a short note. Now, according to myogenic theory, that whenever there is increased systemic blood pressure, there will be increase in the renal blood flow, that is increase in the perfusion pressure. So there will be increased distension of the afferent arteriole. Because of increased perfusion, increased distension, there is increased stretch on the wall of afferent arteriole. In response to the increased stretch of the afferent arteriole wall, the media present contains the smooth muscle. This smooth muscle present in the tunica media of the afferent arteriole contract in response to this increased stretch. As a result of contraction of the smooth muscle, there will be vasoconstriction. Because of vasoconstriction, there is decreased lumen. Hence, decreased blood flow through afferent arteriole, which is actually the feeding for the glomerulus. So, decreased lumen of afferent arteriole, decreased blood flow through afferent arteriole, hence decreased blood flow through glomerulus, hence decreased driving force, hence decreased glomerular filtration rate. exactly opposite will happen when there will be fall in systemic blood pressure, because there will be decreased stretch on the wall of afferent arteriole. Now we'll see tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism. Tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism is the feedback mechanism from the renal tubule, that is macula densa of renal tubule, to the glomerulus of the same nephron. It is actually the inverse relationship between the load of sodium chloride presented to macula densa of the renal tubule to the state of dilatation of afferent arteriole. When there is increased load of sodium chloride presented to the macula densa of the renal tubule, then by reflex mechanism there will be vasoconstriction of afferent arteriole, resulting into decreased lumen of afferent arteriole, hence decreased blood flow through glomerulus, hence decreased driving force, and hence decreased glomerular filtration rate. On the other hand, whenever there is decreased load of sodium chloride presented to the macula densa, by reflex mechanism there will be vasodilatation of afferent arteriole, hence increased lumen of afferent arteriole, hence there is increased blood flow through afferent arteriole. As a result, there is increased driving force across the glomerular membrane, hence increased glomerular filtration rate. Now we'll see the explanation. When there is decreased extracellular fluid, that is when there is decreased blood volume, hence decreased blood pressure. Whenever there is fall in BP, there will be stimulation of sympathetic nervous system. The JG cells are the specialized myoepithelioid cells which acts like stretch receptors, vascular volume receptors, which are present in the afferent arteriole like a cuff before the afferent arteriole breaks down into the tuft of capillaries, that is glomerulus. So when there is fall in BP, because of the decreased stretch on the afferent arterial wall, the JG cells are stimulated. Also, JG cells has got sympathetic innervation. Fall in BP results into sympathetic system stimulation, hence stimulation of JG cells. So, two ways there is stimulation of JG cells. Also, whenever there is a decreased BP, there will be decreased blood flow through the renal blood flow. Decreased renal blood flow, hence decreased glomerular filtration rate, and when there is decreased glomerular filtration rate, there will be decreased glomerular filtrate form. Because of decreased glomerular filtrate form, there will be decreased load of sodium chloride in the glomerular filtrate and hence tubular filtrate. As a result, there will be decreased load of sodium chloride presented to the macula densa. Macula densa, it is a chemoreceptor or chemosensor. It is the proximal part of distal converted tubule which detects the change in the chemical composition of the tubular fluid. When there is decreased load of sodium chloride presented to the macula densa, then this macula densa sends stimulatory impulse to the JG cells via extraglomerular mesangial cells. Overall effect, three ways there is stimulation of JG cells. But the JG cells is responsible for synthesis of hormone renin. Though the hormone renin is hormone, it acts as an enzyme. It acts on angiotensinogen, which is its substrate. Because of action of renin, angiotensinogen gets converted into angiotensin 1. By action of angiotensin converting enzyme, angiotensin 1 gets converted into angiotensin 2. And angiotensin 2 is the most important hormone of RAS. Angiotensin 2 has got the local effect, that is in kidney. It has got the preferential action on the efferent arteriole, and that is preferential vasoconstrictor action of the efferent arteriole. Because of the vasoconstriction, there will be resistance to the flow of blood through efferent arteriole, hence resistance to the flow of blood across the glomerulus, thus increasing the hydrostatic pressure or driving force across the glomerulus and hence increasing the glomerular filtration rate. When there is fall in BP, one expects decrease in the glomerular filtration rate. But by the local action of angiotensin 2, which is preferential vasoconstrictor action on the efferent arteriole, glomerular filtration rate, which has fallen down because of fall in BP, has increased and just tried to maintain at normal state. Also, angiotensin 2 has got even systematic action. Systemic actions will result into correction of BP. That is, fall in BP will get corrected back to normal because of systemic actions of the angiotensin 2. Because of rise in BP by angiotensin 2 action, there will be rise in BP, hence increase in renal blood flow and hence increase in driving force. So when there is a fall in BP, one expects fall in renal blood flow, fall in glomerular filtration rate, but because of the local action, there is increase in the glomerular filtration rate, and the two actions of angiotensin 2, which are systemic actions, which are responsible for rise in BP, are one, vasoconstrictor action and volume expansion action of the angiotensin 2, which it acts directly and indirectly. So systemic actions which are responsible for regulation of BP by angiotensin 2 are the vasoconstrictor action and volume expansion action. Now what is these actions? Vasoconstrictor action is also direct and indirect. Directly, because the angiotensin 2 is very potent vasoconstrictor, much more potent than noradrenaline. Because of direct action on the smooth muscle of the various arterioles, there will be vasoconstriction and hence increased peripheral resistance. While indirectly, it acts on the zona glomerulosa of adrenal cortex, causing increased release of aldosterone. Aldosterone acts on the distal converted tubule, but before that it is in the volume expansion activity. But indirect action is because of the sympathetic stimulation. Vasoconstrictor action, direct action, is because of the vasoconstrictor direct action on the vessel wall, and indirectly by increasing the sympathetic activity. Because angiotensin 2 stimulates the hypothalamic nuclei. These sympathetic hypothalamic nuclei will in turn stimulate the sympathetic nuclei in the vasomotor center. Increased stimulation of the sympathetic nuclei in the vasomotor center in turn will stimulate the postganglionic sympathetic nerve endings, hence increased release of noradrenaline. Noradrenaline will act on the alpha-1 receptors present in the vascular smooth muscle. Overall effect is the vasoconstriction directly and indirectly. So vasoconstrictor action is directly is by the angiotensin 2 on the vessel wall, and indirectly is because of increased sympathetic activity through hypothalamus, through medulla oblongata, through postganglionic sympathetic nerve endings, hence increased noradrenaline, hence increased peripheral resistance. While blood pressure is equal to peripheral resistance into cardiac output. While the volume expansion activity of angiotensin 2 is responsible for rise in cardiac output. Now, how is this volume expansion action of angiotensin 2? Again, direct and indirect. There are two target organs, kidney and brain. The kidney action, direct action is angiotensin 2, that is in the proximal convoluted tubule. The angiotensin 2 directly stimulates sodium reabsorption and hence water reabsorption. While indirect action in the kidney is through aldosterone, that is the angiotensin 2 will stimulate zona glomerulosa of adrenal cortex, increase synthesis and release of the aldosterone. Aldosterone will act on the proximal part of the distal convoluted tubule, hence there is increased sodium reabsorption and hence water reabsorption. So in the proximal convoluted tubule and distal convoluted tubule, directly or indirectly, increased sodium reabsorption and hence increased water reabsorption, which is secondary reabsorption, and hence increase in the extracellular fluid. Now, second target organ is the brain, where the angiotensin 2 acts on the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus, it acts one, that is the thirst receptors, which results into increased conscious desire for water intake, causing increased water intake. While second, it stimulates the supraoptic and paraventricular nuclei of the hypothalamus for the synthesis and release of hormone ADH. This increased release ADH will act on principally on the principal cells of the collecting tubule and collecting duct. Partly it will act on the distal part of the distal converted tubule. It acts through the vasopressin receptor. So vasopressin with vasopressin 2 receptor will form hormone receptor complex, resulting into stimulation of GTP binding protein activity. Stimulation of GTP protein binding activity will stimulate activity of enzyme adenyl cyclase. Thus, increased activity of adenyl cyclase will cause conversion of ATP to 3-5 cyclic AMP as well as increased formation of protein kinase A. Due to increased 3-5 cyclic AMP and increased pKa, that is protein kinase A, there is increased synthesis of vesicles which are rich in the water channel proteins aquaporin 2. Fusion of these aquaporin water channel proteins to the luminal membrane will result into increased permeability of the cell membrane to water, resulting into entry of water from the tubular lumen into the tubular cells. Then from the tubular cell there is entry into the peritubular capillaries and peritubular fluid is because of presence of aquaporin 3 and aquaporin 4 protein channels, water channel proteins, and this is a passive diffusion. Overall effect in the brain and kidney is that there is increased water intake because of increased thirst, and there is increased water retention because of decreased water output, that is decreased urine output. Overall effect is that there is increase in extracellular fluid. Increased extracellular fluid results into increased venous return, hence increased stroke output, hence increased cardiac output. So vasoconstrictor action, increased peripheral resistance, and volume expansion property of angiotensin 2 increase in the cardiac output, and blood pressure is equal to peripheral resistance into cardiac output. Thus, when there is fall in BP, one expects fall in decreased renal blood flow. Then because of systemic actions of angiotensin 2, rise in BP, thus maintaining renal blood flow, while locally because of vasoconstrictor action, again there is increased glomerular filtration rate. So though the blood pressure has fallen down, one expects fall in glomerular filtration rate, decrease in the glomerular filtration rate secondary to decrease in renal blood flow. Everything is adjusted by auto regulation. Now second, when there is increase in the BP, that is increase in the systemic blood pressure up to 180 to 200 millimeter of Hg, what happens? This happens when there is increased extracellular fluid or increased blood volume. And so when there is increased blood pressure, naturally there is increased renal blood flow to begin with. This will result into increased stretch on the JG cells. JG cells, which are the volume receptors sensitive to the stretch, will get stimulated and they will get inhibited because of excessive stretch. Also, because of the increase in the stimulation of the JG cells, there will be inhibition of renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system, and due to increased renal blood flow, there will be increase in the glomerular filtration rate. Increased glomerular filtration rate, so increased load of sodium chloride in the glomerular filtrate, because increased glomerular filtrate, increased sodium chloride load in the glomerular filtrate, hence increased load in the tubular fluid. So increased load of sodium chloride in the thick ascending limb of loop of Henle as well as in the proximal part of the distal converted tubule, which acts as macula densa. Macula densa, as we have seen, it is a chemoreceptor, that is, it detects the change in the chemical composition of tubular fluid. Whenever there is increased load of sodium chloride, it is detected by macula densa, and macula densa through extraglomerular mesangial cells will send the input, which will be inhibited input to the JG cells. Overall effect, inhibition of JG cells. The JG cells are responsible for synthesis of renin. Inhibition of renin will result into inhibition of renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. Now we have seen that angiotensin 2 has got local action, and that is preferential vasoconstriction of the efferent arteriole. Loss of this, because when there is fall in angiotensin 2, there will be decreased activity of vasoconstrictor action in the efferent arteriole. So when there is systemic blood pressure has increased, when you expect significant increase in the glomerular filtration rate, but because of loss of protective driving vasoconstrictor action on the efferent arteriole, driving force has decreased. As a result, there will be decrease in the glomerular filtration rate. Also, because of the systemic effects of the angiotensin 2, that is the vasoconstrictor action and volume expansion action of the angiotensin 2, which will be decreased because of decreased angiotensin 2. So, whenever there is a decreased angiotensin 2, direct action, vasoconstriction over the smooth muscles of arterioles is lost. Sympathetic activity, that is postganglion sympathetic nerve endings, which are stimulated by angiotensin 2 and hence increased rates of noradrenaline is lost. Overall effect, vasodilatation, so decrease in the peripheral resistance. Also, angiotensin 2 has got volume expansion effect through the direct action on the kidney and brain, that is proximal converted tubule sodium absorption through angiotensin 2, distal converted tubule absorption of sodium and water through distal converted tubule is lost. So there is natriuresis, hence diuresis. Overall effect, there will be more and more natriuresis, diuresis, hence there is a decrease in extracellular fluid, hence decreased venous return, decreased stroke output, decreased cardiac output, and blood pressure is equal to peripheral resistance into cardiac output. Overall effect, there will be fall in BP, and due to this systemic effect, even the renal blood flow will fall, hence there will be decreased glomerular filtration rate. Also, what we have seen that when there is increased sodium chloride in the glomerular filtrate, there will be increased load of sodium chloride in the thick ascending limb of loop of Henle. The thick ascending limb of loop of Henle is responsible for active absorption of sodium and chloride because of presence of sodium potassium ATPase pump. When there is increased sodium chloride load on the thick ascending limb, more and more absorption because of more and more hydrolysis of ATP. Because this absorption takes place in the thick ascending limb with the sympoters, that is sodium potassium 2 chloride. More sodium chloride in the filtrate, more sodium chloride in the thick ascending limb of loop of Henle, more hydrolysis of ATP. So conversion of ATP to ADP, ADP to AMP, AMP to adenosine, and adenosine is receptor is present on the afferent arteriole, which is vasoconstrictor. Overall effect, there will be vasoconstriction. That is when there is increased load of sodium chloride presented to macula densa, there will be inverse relation, and that is vasoconstriction of the afferent arteriole. Thus, kidney in the range of 60 to 70 mean arterial pressure lower level and 180 to 200 is able to maintain the constant renal blood flow. So though there is a wide range of systemic fluctuation of BP, renal blood flow is maintained constant by renal autoregulation, thus controls the glomerular filtration rate, which is ultimate reflection of kidney function. Thank you very much.